everyone. It's Middays, SuperTalk Mississippi. We're live from the Mississippi Gulf Coast. We're in the Mississippi Coast Convention Center with a beautiful view of the coastline, of the beach, and the blue Gulf out there. We appreciate it. And joining us now is Mayor Carolyn McAdams of the city of Greenwood. Mayor, good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on SuperTalk.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So you are the outgoing president. You're passing the gavel.
I'm passing the gavel in the morning. So I'm the outgoing president. I just presided over the last conference, and then tomorrow, pretty soon after everything is taking place, then Toby will come on.
Yeah, Mayor Toby Barker of Hattiesburg was just on the program earlier. But did you enjoy serving as the president?
Oh, I loved it, and I loved serving. You know, we actually got to serve a year, so we had 4 years instead of 3.
Right.
And so because of the pandemic, Billy Hughes served
From
2 years as president of Gulfport. So it's been a great 4 years of serving on this league. I mean, I can't say enough nice things about the Mississippi Municipal League. They service all of the cities in Mississippi, and so it's a great organization to be a part of. So I've really enjoyed it.
Mississippi is seems like a unique state in that our population is widely distributed across the state. We don't really have any just huge population centers where most of our population resides. We are a state comprised of lots of small, mid-sized communities, cities, and towns.
Right, exactly. Well, most of our states are towns.
Yes.
You know, but you have the bigger cities, which we only have a few of the larger cities.
Yeah.
But the great thing about the league is all of the cities, whether you're 10 people or 1,000, you know, doesn't matter. You're all represented, and they're encouraging on that note. So it's a great league. Anything
in particular, Mayor, that you're hearing from city leaders that is of particular concern? It's kind of a common theme they're talking about this year.
Well, it's always home rule is always a common thing. Dilapidated properties is always a pretty common thing, but this year, front and center, because I'm from Greenwood, Mississippi, and the Delta, is the hospital situation, which is crucial.
Give us an update on that. You and I have talked about that before.
Right. We've talked about it before, and our update is that we're still waiting to see from the federal government whether we're going to be given the opportunity to be a critical care access. So we're still waiting patiently, hopeful, prayerful, that we are able to make that. I don't know. I mean, it's all uncertain.
And the reason that's important, as I understand it, is that the reimbursement rate in certain programs goes up when you're a critical care versus the acute care.
Exactly.
But does that also mean that you have to reduce some of the inpatient services to qualify as that? What are the requirements there, as you understand it?
Well,
to receive that designation.
It is. All of that is extremely complicated, and our hospital board has been fantastic with dealing with that. The city and the county are owners of the hospital,
right? But
we're not necessarily engaged in the everyday circumstances of the Medicaid. Now, Medicaid expansion is critical to the state of Mississippi. I do believe that in my heart, because we just cannot make it any longer by ourselves, and we need that extra payment to fulfill our hospitals. I mean, you know as well as you, would you like to be in a community that does not have a hospital? I mean, it's critical. If we have to wait, if you have a heart attack or a stroke and you have to go 50 miles, or in Greenwood it would probably be 45 miles to the nearest hospital, the survival rate's going down. Mm-hmm. So we need our hospital. We need, now I'm not saying we need a huge hospital, but we need a hospital that we can get there and be cared for and then maybe sent to another city, but at least be cared for on the initial end of it.
When are you expecting to hear whether or not the hospital gets approved?
I think everybody's asking that question. I have been told that by the fall, hopefully early September, we will hear that whether we were accepted for that designation or not.
Right. Well, we'll see what happens. I know Dr. Edney from the Department of Health was on the program a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about that as well. Felt like that was something critical for the stability of the medical center in your community.
And we passed that first hurdle with the state. So they granted it, and then it went to the federal government.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But
gotcha.
We're hopeful. We're hopeful.
Well, tell us how things are going other than that. I know health care is front and center for you, especially since in your case you've got the public-owned hospital in your community.
Right.
How are things going in Greenwood? What's your revenue picture like, your expense, your budget?
Well,
how's that going?
The revenue side of Greenwood, our sales tax has been up almost every month for many years now. So that's been a great access to us. And the other thing has been the ARPA funding, especially with the match. You know, when the government, the state decided to match those funds, and most of that was done through Delbert Hoseman. He got that ball going, and it was successful, and it's been a great help, especially to Greenwood, because we are a historic city, so our sewer lines are old, they're dilapidating, they're caving in. And so that funds, with the match funds, gave me about $6 million to deal with the sewer lines and the lining of each of them. And that's what we're going to do with that money.
Okay.
We're going to put it to good use. Even though it's underground about 20 feet and nobody's going to see it, it's still a great thing to happen in Greenwood.
Is that project started, ready, or you just get it all planned out?
We've bid it out, and it actually came in $600,000 under bid, which was historic in itself. So that was an excitement as well. So we were able to take that $600,000 and do maybe some more lining that we didn't plan on. So that's even a greater use of the money.
Gotcha. What about this issue of sales taxes, income taxes, something that's being debated by our legislature? Do you have any feelings about that? Elimination of either? Sales tax is mainly the grocery sales tax you're talking about. Yeah.
Well, you know, I think reducing the grocery sales tax would be certainly beneficial to Mississippi, and especially the smaller cities and towns. But I just want to make sure that when they start eliminating this, and I'm being told, and today Lieutenant Governor Hoseman touched on that in the speech this morning, that they will make us whole. So if they can prove to the cities that by the reduction or the elimination, it's a process. It's not going to happen tomorrow.
Really talking about, in this case, sales tax, the grocery sales tax. Yeah.
And so if they can make it whole, then I think it'll be a workable, doable plan.
What do the people of Greenwood think? Do they have kind of a preference that you've heard just anecdotally on the streets? Would they like to see the income tax eliminated, the grocery tax? A lot of people say I'd like to see both. That's a little bit more difficult economic and math problem, of course.
Well, when you start talking about reduction of taxes and especially elimination of taxes, the people of Greenwood have been pretty supportive towards that.
Okay.
Especially when you're talking about eliminating or reducing the grocery tax, and people say, yeah, you know, we want that. But, you know, the gasoline tax, on the other hand, are these things going to make other things go up?
It's always a concern. Exactly. I hear that a lot as well.
And I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Well, what are they going to do about our gasoline tax, or what are they going to do about this other tax? Well, I'm not sure.
Right.
So we just have to wait and hear from our elected officials to see how they're going to make us whole when all that comes to be.
Right.
And it is a process.
Yeah, it definitely is. So is there anything in particular that you'll be lobbying the legislature for next year? Anything that you're bringing to them that you'd like to see happen outside of the tax issue?
The great thing about the MML is they keep you so updated on all the happenings and bills that are being coming before the legislators. And so we start reading the bills, getting the information, and then saying, hey, we're not for this bill.
Okay.
And then we start lobbying our legislators. And Trey Bobbinger is the Mississippi Municipal League lobbyist, and he does a great job. My chairman was Ricky Garrett. She did a great job. And it was really a topsy-turvy year for the legislation this year. But I think in the long run, we did a lot of good. Not 100%, but we did a lot of good.
Right. Would there be any parting wisdom you'd like to impart on incoming MML President Toby Barker? We got about a minute left.
Well, I can say this. Toby is going to do an outstanding job. He has been a pleasure to work with throughout my years of serving as an officer. He is gung-ho Mississippian. He's smart. He was in the legislature. So that gives him really an edge to me.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how to really deal with all that. Toby's going to be remarkable in that.
Good.
I know he's going to do great, and I look forward to seeing what he will be doing.
Sounds great. Mayor, thanks for coming on. I always enjoy chatting with you. Appreciate it, and have a good conference. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I
You
appreciate
got it. Mayor Carolyn McAdams, you too, Mayor, of the city of Greenwood. When we come back, we've got the mayor of South Haven, Darren Musselwhite.